The Amaverse has many stories, and this is one of them. You will witness the arrival of the Empress, the Messiah, the one who changed the rules of the world, a story of suffering and struggle against adversity. Join us to meet the legendary Darinka, the Empress of 1,000 kingdoms. The winds howled across the barren expanse of Darinka's new home, bringing with them whispers of despair and betrayal. This was the edge of the 1,000 realms, a place of exile, where the land bore no fruit and the horizon stretched out in a haze of arid desolation. Here, even the beasts prowled with a desperation that mirrored his own. Darinka stood atop a crumbling hill, the tattered hem of her once luxurious dress flapping against her legs. She clutched her little brother, Arik, to her chest. His tiny fingers clung to her shawl, the only barrier between her frail body and the biting winds. Behind her, the silhouette of her refuge, an abandoned stone hut, crouched in the shadow of the approaching twilight. Inside, her mother coughed, every sound a reminder of the fragility that defined her existence now. This was what remained of the House of Valnar, the fourth most important noble line in the 1,000 kingdoms. Darinka's mind reeled with memories of dazzling banquets, the bustle of political intrigue, and the promise of a secure future. It had all collapsed, just as her father's body had fallen under the sword of betrayal. Her fiancé, Jusin, his name was poison on her tongue, had been the architect of her family's downfall. She could still see his cold, calculating eyes when she had renounced their engagement.
You are nothing now, Darinka. I cannot join a family in ruins.
Darinka clenched her fists, her knuckles turning white as she mentally replayed the scene. The laughter of the noble allies, the jeers, and the final blow, the announcement of her exile to this forgotten place.
Darinka, you must go in. The beast will come with the night.
She turned to see the older woman leaning against the door, her once majestic figure reduced to a fragile shadow of herself. Darinka nodded, anger simmering beneath the surface. She led Arik into the cabin and closed the rickety door to shield her from the gathering darkness. The meager fire they had managed to build from the dry wood offered little warmth, but illuminated the room enough for her to see her mother's pale face. As they huddled together, Darinka's thoughts turned to divine law, the law her father had upheld, the one the other nobles had spat on. For centuries, it was said, the goddesses of the Amaverse had watched over the 1,000 realms, ensuring balance and justice. Yet when her father was killed, no divine hand had intervened. The goddesses were silent. She felt the weight of that silence, an emptiness that tightened around her chest and threatened to crush her. But beneath the despair, something else stirred, a flash of defiance. If the goddesses didn't act, she would. The first step came the next morning. Darinka was up before the sun rose, her body stiff from the cold, and her mind filled with determination. She ventured out into the wasteland, her boots crunching against the cracked ground. There was no plan, only the need to act, to find something, anything that could change her fate. As she climbed another desolate ridge, the wind brought a voice to her ears. Soft, melodic, and undeniably unearthly, it resonated deep within her, and she turned with her heart pounding and looked at her. The figure that appeared was both radiant and terrible, its form shrouded in shifting light and shadow. It stood taller than any mortal, its presence commanding the very air to still. It was no ordinary being. The Mother Goddess. Darinka Valnar, do you know why I have come? Darinka fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face.
You came too late, Goddess. My father is dead, and my family is ruined.
The goddess took a step closer, her eyes like twin suns. The laws of the Amaverse are eternal. Your family's fall was a test, a catalyst for what will come next. The nobles have forgotten the sacred balance. They must be reminded of it. With a wave of her hand, the mother goddess pointed to the ground beneath Darinka. The cracked earth shimmered and transformed into a rich green carpet of moss and flowers. Darinka gasped and instinctively reached out her fingers to touch the miracle. This is my gift to you. You will inherit the lands you walk upon. No force can ever take them from your hands. And with every step you take, you will grow stronger. Reclaim the 1,000 kingdoms, Darinka. Show them the power of divine justice. Darinka stared at the transformed ground, her heart pounding in her chest. The power beneath her fingertips was intoxicating, terrifying, and full of promise. For the first time in what seemed like forever, hope burned brightly within her. When she stood up, there was steel in her gaze. She would become the Empress of the 1,000 realms, not for vengeance but for justice, for her family, for the goddesses, and for herself. What path will Darinka take? What challenges await her? Join us in the next chapter, The Goddess Rin, where an ancient pact with the goddesses is forged anew.
She rose from ashes cold and grey. Her heart once scattered lost her way. From broken vows and endless tears, she forged a path to quell her fears. Injustice marred her every stride. With every breath she